I came into Cincinnati by way of the tank bus, Route 2, which deposited me in downtown Cincinnati with several hours to walk around and get something to eat prior to catching my westbound Amtrak train. To get from downtown to the Over-the-Rhine district, I wanted to take the Connector Streetcar, which has been running for almost a decade as a loop between two of the oldest neighborhoods in this historic city. I see something that resembles public transit. Let's check it out. We got us bike shares, post office. No, that's a trick station or something else legitimate. Streetcar station is up here. Yup, that's Yep. That says the thing, and yeah, we got trolley wire and tracks, and goes up there. Guess we'll see when it's coming. The Connector is today the sole example of rail transit in Cincinnati's regional public transit system. Historically, the city was an early adopter of railroads. A not insignificant streetcar system was around in the middle of the 19th century and was the home of a major streetcar manufacturing company. A number of lines ran through downtown, across the river, and into northern Kentucky, with the most notable feature of the system being the incline railway structures that moved streetcars up the hills surrounding the core of the city center. This system was abandoned in favor of highways when personal vehicles took hold of transportation planning in the mid-20th century. The modern streetcar was born out of a desire to see the downtown and Over-the-Rhine neighborhoods returned from blight and a lack of development as the 21st century dawned. Hoping to emulate Portland, Oregon, the new system was drawn up, this time looping within the city's core, and eventually would be expanded into other neighborhoods as ridership became established. After opening in 2016, what was then called the Bell Connector only had less than 4 years prior to ridership being almost insignificant in the first years of the 2020s. But a switch to a fare-free system of operations and a rebranding as just the Connector has recently seen ridership swell to well over 100,000 riders per month during the warmer months, and at least double its first few years during the slower months. As for whether the Connector has fulfilled its intended goal of boosting the fortunes of the city's two oldest neighborhoods, I get a sense that such is difficult to measure definitively yet. The streetcar is certainly moving more people around the businesses that have opened in all the various vintages of structures along the route. But whether or not these folks would be here to do their business without the streetcar is debatable. The active effort to promote the neighborhood and improve the conditions of these blocks could have been accomplished with regular route buses rolling down the street and offering free rides at that, thus saving the city the cost of reconstructing the street for rail transit. But something in me finds it intriguing that the novelty aspect of the streetcar as a type of technology to those used to driving may be helping to prop up both the streetcar and businesses along the line. Is it the closed-loop system and the reliability that comes from containing this form of transit to dozens of blocks rather than across the city that makes it a safe investment for Cincinnati? Would expanding it beyond the border of Over-the-Rhine, up the hills, or over the river south to Covington be considered overspending? I guess the overall health of public transit in the greater Cincinnati metro is really being called into question there, and I only got to ride one other bus from the airport on this trip in addition to the Connector. The only other thing I saw was what appeared to be transit stations around downtown for buses that have come over the past decades. I can't say how far back. Not enough to have a good read on where Cincinnati is holding any given line of public transit's usefulness in the era of our varied modern commute reasons. What is clear is that the connector works well for its neighborhoods and has enough of a following among voters in the city to avoid the acts of budget cuts and public referenda over its first decades of planning and operation. No doubt that free operation is both a boon for foot traffic to these neighborhood businesses, as much as it could be a potential boondoggle if the city becomes overextended or addled with budgetary concerns. It got me around really well. I had intended to only make one stop for certain, at a coffee bar around the corner from the Opera House. When the option to have a slice of pizza in Over-the-Rhine existed as a potentially long walk up to and back, the streetcar sealed the deal of me spending twice as much as was planned for certain in my travels. Multiply that happening more often for tourists and locals, and that's exemplary of why this line was constructed. It seems like the city enjoys the novelty of this potentially more useful transit option, and since it's free, they don't mind showing it by transforming the tram into a karaoke lounge after some event had gone down in the park on this unassuming Sunday evening. Pick up the streetcar again. Why not? Save the walk. We're going first class tonight. We deserve a chauffeured ride. Well, that's all I have to report from Cincinnati in this video. It's a nice streetcar, and I hope it has the legs to get up and over the hill someday and take everyone further into the metro on future trips here. Next week, we'll go on a long-form ride from Oklahoma City to Fort Worth aboard Amtrak's Heartland Flyer. Until then, thanks for coming along with me to take a look at the streetcar in Cincinnati. I'll see you in another video.